Hi you guys, this is Jamie with Whatever's Clever Boutique, and today I have a tutorial on a style that I don't do that often, but ever since Deb with Dubis Treasures sent me this awesome striping Serape helper, I got really excited because in the past I've tried to make a Serape tumbler and my hand is just not steady enough. So when I got this tool, I opened it and immediately started playing with it. It is so cool. You can even do 2 brushes at one time. I didn't get brave enough to do that. You can use it to, just mark your tumbler with a line with a Sharpie. And this is a tumbler that I did in the past freehand. As you can see, the lines just are not great. So here is the cool little tool. You can put your paintbrushes in it. You can adjust the height, all of that jazz. So I get my brush lined up the way that I want it, and then I set it down, hold it up against the tumbler to make sure that I don't need to adjust the height, which I did a little bit, and just get it to where it's going to give you a nice, you want the brush touching the top/side, but not pressing super hard. Then all I did was dot my alcohol ink right on the tip of that brush and hold it right up against that tumbler and look at the straight line. This thing is so cool. So I did notice the more I held the brush on the same spot, the darker the pigment was. And I was really going for a super bright, super vibrant tumbler here, and this just worked so perfectly. As you'll see here, I decide that I want this line a little bit bigger than the others, or the other, I've only done one other one. So all I do is just move the brush to the side a little bit and let it keep spinning. Now I'm going for a neon Serape tumbler here, and I just kind of eyeballed where I thought that these lines would go in order. So all that I really did was just adjust the, height of each line based off of how many colors I knew I had left. So I reused this brush for my orange since the pink, was pretty similar. I did wipe it off, but I just reused the same brush for this one. And most of my inks were from Bria Reese. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And they were from her neon collection. So as we did with the pink, I'm just going to go ahead and hold that up there. I will speed this up here in a bit. It is very repetitive, but it's kind of satisfying to watch. I mean, just seeing the lines form and not having to hold your hand there, cramping, shaking, all the things. I absolutely love it. 10 out of 10, recommend this. I'll have it linked in the description box below, as well as all of the other supplies that I use in this tutorial for you guys to go ahead and go down and shop. So I'll just let you kind of sit here and watch as we finish out this Serape pattern. will say, this is some Tim Holtz ink, and the Bria-Reese ink went on so flawlessly, almost like butter. It just smoothed right on. This stuff was a little, I don't know if it's thicker or what the difference was, but I really did have to let this ink sit and spin and spin and spin to get it to blend really well. So kind of playing with different inks, it might go on a little bit differently. In the end, it looked perfect, but I did notice a difference in the inks themselves. Now, when I went to do the bottom here, it did get a little bit tricky, but I made it work. I just kind of held the brush there, and then eventually I just took it out and just kind of held it there as the tumbler spun, as the tumbler spun, and it ended up working out just fine. But that part was a little bit tricky. I did let those inks sit overnight just so that they were completely dry. I did have quite a bit of ink on the tumbler, so I let it sit overnight, and then I went in with 1 coat of epoxy. The epoxy that I use is KSRESIN Liquidy Split Ultra UV. I love it. It cures so quickly, and it just works perfectly for myself and the environment I'm in. And then I go ahead and hit that tumbler with the torch to pop any air bubbles. And I go ahead and let that cure. Now I started this tumbler and then got busy on some other projects, so it sat for a couple of weeks. So I went in and did just a light sanding over the entire tumbler to be sure that the next layer of epoxy adhered really well. I just, with it being fully cured, I didn't want to take a chance of the epoxy kind of repelling or lifting off. So I just went ahead and sanded that, wiped it down with some rubbing alcohol. And now we're going to go in with our glitter swirl effect from the tumbler that we were trying to remake. I'm using Morocco, A Beach Somewhere, and Hayride, all from KSRESIN. And I'm going to kind of layer and build up that swirl with these 3 glitters. As always, I'm going in with my epoxy method for applying my glitter. So I just get that rubbed all over the tumbler there. And then we're going to go in with our chunkiest glitter first. That is Morocco. And I'm just kind of eyeballing and going to go in a swirl motion by slowly turning the tumbler as I apply that glitter. And I let the glitter fall just kind of naturally down the sides of the tumbler as I swirl it, almost creating an ombre type effect, if that kind of makes sense. So next is A Beach Somewhere, and I'm pretty sure that's a fine cut of Morocco. And I'm just gonna go in over top of that Morocco to fill in any of that open space and build up that coverage on our swirl. Then I go ahead and get that bottom a little bit. And then the last color we're gonna go in with is with our Hayride. And this has more of like a pungent bronzy gold color. So I saved that one for last because I didn't want that to be the full color that you saw. I wanted more of the gold to be pulled through. So I went in with this one last to just kind of fill in any of those open spaces. And I am so excited at this point. I absolutely loved how it was turning out. I totally was getting Western vibes with this one, which initially wasn't my thought. So I kind of shifted at this point and had a different vision for this tumbler. So when I went in to apply the epoxy, I went ahead and did just the Serape, hopefully I'm saying that right, Serape part of the tumbler first, as to not carry those glitters down into that section more than what they already are. So I applied the epoxy to the ink portion and then the glitter portion. Then we're going to go ahead and pop any of those air bubbles with our torch and let that cure. Once it's all cured, we're going to go in with our semi-transparent cow sheet from Banff Custom Creations. And I'm just going to go ahead, kind of like the shorty tumblers that I did a couple weeks back. I'm going to just cut out these cow prints and place them individually throughout the glitter portion of our tumbler. Once we get all that cow print on, we are going to go in with our final 2 coats of epoxy. Look at the difference. This tool is seriously amazing. I am so happy with how this turned out. A huge thank you to Deb from Doobie's Treasures on Etsy. I love this tool. I cannot wait to make more. It was so easy, stress-free, and my lines were perfect. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you grab this tool and make some tumblers, tag me. I would love to see them. It's just been so much fun. So if you would like to know any of the products that I used in this tutorial, go ahead and check that description box below. I even have some discount codes for you down there as well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I will see you guys again next week. Thank you.